Hello and welcome to another video. I'm not at the plot today, I'm actually in the garden, so welcome to the garden. It is the 7th of July. It might seem a little bit early to be thinking about next year's garden and allotment, but things are starting to go into seed already, so it is time to start thinking about harvesting some seeds and doing some sowings as well, ready for growing on next year. So I'm going to be having a look around the garden and just taking a few seeds which I want to have on my allotment plot next year. And also I want to show you my wildflower meadow. Before I got my allotment, my specific growing space was a verge outside the house on the roadside. Because the garden is really my mum's garden, it left very little space for me to play around in and mess up. I think she would maybe call it. So I was very generously allowed to do stuff on the outside of the house where it wouldn't impact on the aesthetics of the garden. So I had the roadside, which I weeded and prepared for seeds, and I just mixed up a whole bunch of seeds into some compost and sprinkled it over the top. And unfortunately we then got hit with a drought so they really didn't get the watering they needed. Everything looked very barren, very bare. I was very concerned that none of the seeds would survive, and I'd used all my seeds, which meant I didn't have anything then when I did get my allotment plot because they were all on the ground outside. However, I am really excited to show you what has come up and how it's looking now, because it really gives an indication of what I'm hoping to achieve on my allotment plot next year, and it is giving me motivation that actually with a little effort and a lot of hope I can achieve something quite pretty. Before, this space looked a little bit barren and messy and scrubby, and now it still looks messy and scrubby, but in a pretty way, and it is absolutely covered in pollinators. There are bees, there are hoverflies, ladybirds, I can hear grasshoppers, and there's all sorts of other bugs in here, and it just looks so pretty. I get so inspired to paint every time I look at this. That has been looking really good over the last few weeks, and there's still things coming out. There are things going over, there are lots of plants in different stages of life, and as I mentioned, we are definitely in a drought, so they are looking a little bit sad and they are struggling, but the fact that anything came up at all is really great, because they were not given the best start in life. So I am really pleased with what has come up. And it has given me a lot of inspiration for what to do on the allotment plot. I just love all the different forms and colours and textures and heights that they all give, and they just work so well together. There's not really one specific colour scheme, but I feel like they all match in a way, and just all their seed pods are so interesting as well. So even when the flowers go over, you've still got interesting structures in the seed pods, like the scabious, which has a fluffy dome made of seeds, or the Californian poppy, which has these really elongated seed pods, and then the aquilegia, which dry up and crinkle and spiral to release their seeds. And they're all made in a different way to aid the dispersal of seeds, and I just think seed pods are so incredibly interesting and unique and mind-blowing. They are engineering marvels. I absolutely love seed pods. I think they're really cool. There are also perennials in here like geraniums and this really interesting plant called Mrs. Wilmot's Ghost, which is a type of perennial thistle. The bees love it, and it adds dynamic interest to the border each year without us having to do any work. So some of it may look a little bit scruffy, but it is such a perfect time to be taking seeds and preparing next year's garden for free. And I have seen what all these things look like when they're in full bloom, and every single one of them is gorgeous in their own way. So now I'm going to be harvesting a bunch of seeds, and I'll be sowing some and saving some, hopefully, to get onto my plot next year. One plant I absolutely desperately want on my plot is the red valerian because of who it attracts. This is a hummingbird hawk moth. It's one of my favourite moths, and it really is just a sign of summer for me here in Norfolk. And I think they're absolutely incredible. They are so beautiful. They're a day flying moth, so you get to see them and appreciate them, unlike a lot of other moths, unless you trap them and look at them in the morning. But I think they're just so cool, and they love the valerian and buddleia also. As well as looking at what seeds I could harvest, I'm also looking for seedlings which I can pot up and transport to the plot. So the verbena are very prolific seeders. They go everywhere. You find them popping up all over the place. So they're perfect to take the seedlings up, and I can take them to my plot. Hopefully they'll flower and then they'll set seed around. We also have loads of little mullein seedlings. The mullein, or Verbascum thapsus, is the food plant for the mullein moth caterpillar and produces a really tall yellow flower spike, perfect for adding height to a border. I have popped the plot this evening, and every time I come here, this bean bed just looks even better. I cannot get over this. Look how big these chards are. They're giant, and the beans are just going crazy. I think I need much taller bean poles next year, um, because they have just gone absolutely insane. Let me give you a little bit of a closer look. So these are the black beans, the ones with the red flowers, and they have very much shot the top of the bean poles, and the fire tongues have also reached the top of their poles. They're just looking so good. I love them. I don't think I've got any flowers yet on the fire tongues though. Just leaves and vines. Heaps of flowers on the black beans, so I'm gonna have heaps of beans. And my dwarf beans, which I'm very excited about, already has a bean. I think it's just one, but there it is, my first bean. Oh, I'm so proud. There are some more beans coming out, which is really exciting. But yeah, beans are doing really well. So definitely beans for next year. I will be able to grow very easily. So I'm thinking an entire bed of dwarf French beans at least. They're going to do really well here. I'm very excited. I have also started getting some tomatoes. They are coming through, and I'm so excited. These ones are the yellow pear, so they've got this teardrop shape. I've also got fruits on the ildi, so that's really very exciting. Nothing so far on the other three, but it is still early. But they do have flowers, so I will definitely be getting fruits very soon. My flower bed is looking amazing. This is now, I think, the star of the plot. I am obsessed with all of these cosmos and the verbena, and really soon that sunflower is going to be coming out, and it just looks gorgeous. It's just about got the sunset light on it, and it just sings. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Hi, Maple. I'm just so excited for planting more cosmos next year and doing this whole bed on a much larger scale and seeing it in its full glory. This sunflower is so nearly out. It will probably be maybe another 3 days, if that, perhaps. It is so close. I can't wait. We had a huge amount of rain yesterday, and I swear this whole area has just shot up. And I don't remember seeing this before, but it looks like another apple tree. Can anyone confirm for me whether this is also a tree? Because it looks really similar to this. And if it is, that's quite exciting. And also I need to make sure to not dig this up. Oh, there's a cricket! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh wow! I've been looking at this plant for ages and I hadn't noticed. Oh my goodness me. So you can apparently tell the difference between crickets and grasshoppers because the antenna on a cricket is long and the antenna on a grasshopper is short. Oh my goodness, look at you go. Hello! He must be really fresh because he's very green. Okay, that was many exciting things all at once. Yes, I need to find out whether this is also an apple tree or some kind of fruit tree. Could it possibly be the same and be connected by the roots? I don't know. I have no knowledge about trees. So if anyone does have any knowledge about trees, please advise me. Oh my gosh, if one of these sunflowers has fallen over next time I'm on the plot, I know exactly who to blame. What are you doing, cat? You're a menace. Oh my goodness, I also have some sweet peas that have come onto my plot, and I'm pretty sure that is from my neighbours across the fence who had a massive sweet pea wall on their wall, and they are so pretty. I love them. They're such a beautiful colour. Okay, need to make sure I get some seed off those as well. What on earth is going on today? How exciting! That was incredibly exciting, and also Maple is in a crazy mood and keeps biting me. So yeah, I am completely distracted now. What was I gonna do? I did bring some plants with me, and I was actually gonna make another flower bed, like the one behind me. I do have some more um, logs and things which I can put down on the ground and just throw some flowers in. So I might just do that and just see how I go. I've got no plan. Um, I don't really know what I'm going to do ahead of time, so I'm just going to see what happens. Um, there are still so many weeds around here that need to be cleared up, but where the cardboard is down, it's doing a pretty good job. Um, so that's good, but yeah, there is still so much to do. And I haven't really been doing a huge amount because it's been very warm still, so I can only do as much as I can do, but let's get cracking with something because it's getting on. It's quite late in the evening, so I've got maybe about an hour to get something done, and I feel like I can achieve something in that time. Of course, the area that hasn't been weeded yet is the ideal space for the next bed. Of course, that's what's happening. Why would it not be? As with the other bed, I started by laying out my logs to see what I had to work with and rearranging them into a configuration that I liked and that I thought looked a little bit more natural. Because it's rained recently, the soil was actually really nice, so it was a good time to plant into it because there's some moisture already in there. And I dug a little bit of the soil out, then did the method of laying the newspaper over the top and watering it down to act as a compostable weed barrier, and then put the soil I took out back on top so that I didn't end up with just a layer of newspaper at the end of my planting. Because I had it to hand and it needed to go somewhere, I put in the butternut squash in this bed and sowed a bunch of seeds around the other flowers that I have planted in, which were the alchemilla and some lychnis. It's coming up to 9 o'clock, so that's pretty much all I can do in the time that I have, but it feels really good to have another bed. It's so simple, but it just looks really good, and I just followed a sort of natural entrance and worked from there, so there really was no plan to it. It was just very intuitive and I actually really love it. I love having these little pockets, so I will fill that with some soil and put some plants in there at some point, but at least my butternut squash has somewhere to go now. Who knows if it'll grow, but it won't do anything in a pot, so I might as well give it a chance in the ground and see what happens. My brother and I popped to the plot after a gym session on this day. It was far too hot to do anything major, but I did have to do a little bit of harvesting, and we were after some beans and potatoes for our dinner. Yeah, it's actually just only one bean. Bountiful harvest of beans. Thankfully, Mum's beans were a little bit more plentiful. I was incredibly excited to be harvesting my first potatoes. These are the first things that went into the ground. The potatoes I planted weren't the best looking. However, I got a really good harvest of potatoes and I am so excited. Digging around in there was really thrilling, and finding potatoes of all sizes, all looking absolutely wonderful, without any blemishes or nibbled bits or green areas. It was just so exciting, and I'm so thrilled with my first potato harvest. The beans, not so much. I also got a couple of courgettes and another bouquet of sweet peas, as well as some chard leaves, and it's just so satisfying being able to grow and pick your own food. It really is just such a joyful feeling. It is the 11th of July and it is a gorgeous day, but unfathomably hot. I am so warm once again, but I have so much to do and I'm so motivated to get stuff done on the plot that I am just going to power through the heat and just get as much done as I possibly can this weekend. I have something really exciting to show you though. I got onto the plot and this is what I was greeted with. I have my first sunflower on the allotment plot and I am so excited. I love it. It looks great with the cosmos. I'm so happy about the placement of these, and I'm just having visions of like this whole area being covered in sunflowers next year, and they look so healthy. The other ones are growing really nicely, but yeah, so thrilled to have the sunflower. The flower bed actually looks really lovely. Again, it needs a dead head, but the cosmos are going strong. Off camera, I have been chipping away at weeding this area once again and laying down more cardboard and plastic sheeting to cover the ground. And I have almost completely weeded the bed that was next to the strawberry bed, which did have the bulbs in it when I first got onto the plot, ready for my next set of projects. What I would like to get done in the next half an hour to an hour is start clearing the old compost bin area and using some of those old pallets to hold down the cardboard that's all over the ground, because I've run out of bricks and heavy things, so that would be really good. And also I can see if there's any usable soil in there, which I can then use to fill up some beds, which I will be making a couple more to go with the 4 I've already made at some point. So it will be really good to have a store of soil ready to go. So I'm just going to see how much I can get done, and then I'm going to go home and this afternoon hopefully work on some pallets for my current raised beds. It's amusing to me that my voiceover is full of heavy rain because this day was swelteringly hot and I was very uncomfortable, but I was determined to get stuff done and not let the sun beat me out of my plot. The entrance to my plot has been bugging me for a long time. It's so messy and I really, really despise it. It does not bring me joy whatsoever. So to be able to start on it was really satisfying. I found an amazing caterpillar which belongs to the comma butterfly, and he was just such a cute little guy, but you definitely wouldn't want to touch him. He was very spiky. Finding a whole heap of usable soil was also really, really lucky. I am so glad that this is here because I was really worried about the lack of soil on my plot. This is the rusty tussock moth caterpillar. It was a great day for caterpillars. It was very exciting. I'm running away, but I did get 3 full wheelbarrows of soil out and into the soil bin, so I did make good progress and I can just keep going at this next time and use these bits of wood to hold down the cardboard and clear this area and make it look a little bit nicer to come onto my plot. So that's going to be very exciting. I need to figure out what I want to do with this area, but for now I just need to clear it and get rid of all the weeds and rotten wood. It is the 12th of July and I'm back in the garden because today I can actually finally make one of my raised beds. It's cool enough to actually work outside, and I'm going to be assembling the sides of the beds at home and then I'm going to transport the sides to the plot, which is where I will then assemble the full beds once I am there. I have already dismantled one of the pallets and I'm going to be using that to make one of the raised beds. I thought using pallets would be quite a straightforward method for making raised beds, but it turns out that pallets all appear to be different sizes, and that has presented me with a little bit of a challenge. So hopefully one pallet is going to make one raised bed, but the width of the planks across all the different pallets I have are slightly different. So there's some 9mm, some 7mm, some 10, some 11, and that's going to be a challenge in terms of making sure that all my raised beds are the same height. Width will be absolutely fine because I can control how long the planks are, but the width is going to be a bit of a tricky Tetris puzzle to deal with. But today the palette I'm using thankfully is all the same size and it's going to create one raised bed, and I can just get one out and see how I go, and that'll inform how I carry on with the other beds that I need to make. So this is what I have to work with right now. The first step is going to be cutting the planks that are on the side just below the planks that go across, avoiding where they've been nailed in. And then that is going to leave these planks with a little bit of a excess on the side, and then I'm going to join other planks to this bit and match them up, if that makes any sense. It's really hard to explain it. I know what I mean. So instead of having gaps, planks are going to be touching. So I just need to cut these bits and scooch these up. It makes sense in my head, and it will make sense when I start doing it, hopefully, and I can show you a little bit better. Watching my video, you're going to think that I whacked one of these out in about 20 minutes. It took 3 days. I took a very long time to do this. Sawing everything out took a long time. Adjusting everything and assembling everything and making sure I had all the bits and pieces was a lot. I was learning everything as I was going, so obviously it's going to take a little bit longer, and I just want to clarify this was not a quick job. Now that I have a few pieces cut, I can explain a little bit better what I'm doing. So this line is 4 foot, and that's going to be one edge of my bed. So the idea is to have these planks overlapping each other. So I've cut so that there's a bit to nail into, and then I just need to kind of Tetris them together so that there isn't any of these at the end, because I'm going to be nailing a post right in the end. So I need to cut a little bit to fit this section, and some of these planks aren't very good, so at the end here there's a really big split and a massive hole, so I can just cut this bit at the end of the split, and then that's going to give me a whole other usable length, and it's just going to slot in underneath there, and then I can cut the end off, and then that'll be my 4 foot. And here is all the finished pieces cut up, ready for one side, ready to be nailed together. So that explains what I'm going to be doing with all of the sides, and you can see how they kind of Tetris together and the joins aren't in line with each other, and I think it's going to look really good, but that took me way too long. Oopsie. Having the overlapping planks on the back was really useful because I could use those to nail the planks together, and then anywhere where there was a bit of a wobbly bit or it just needed a little bit more support, I had a bunch of offcuts which I could then add in as well, and some of them needed to go across just to brace parts where the planks had joined two ends together, but they did end up being fairly solid, even though it looks a little bit messy and haphazard. I'm painting it with some Cuprinol Duxback, which is waterproof shed paint. I think black is the best colour to paint structures in a garden if you don't want it to steal your focus, and it will look really lovely against any colour of the plants, whether that's the green of the leaves or the colours of the flowers like the pinks and the yellows, and whatever colours I have, black will go with absolutely everything. Sawing all the wood by hand was very exhausting, so my mum got out the jigsaw, and within about 2 minutes I already broke the blade, and from then I was not allowed to touch the jigsaw, and very kindly my mum did some cutting for me, so sorry about the jigsaw, Mum, but thanks for your help. I then cut all the individual pieces by hand again and assembled them ready to be nailed together. It is 8:30 in the evening and the raised bed sides have finally been finished. This has been a real slog and a challenge, and I was determined to get these done today, and they are done in that they're all assembled. They just need to be painted, which I can do tomorrow, but this has been so difficult, and both me and Mum and my stepdad have also been working on them, so it's been a team effort for sure. I'm absolutely exhausted, but this is what we have got so far for the first raised bed. So that's the first side that I made yesterday, and it's all completely finished, all put together, all painted, and that helped to give an indication of what I needed to do today. So today I then cut every single piece out that I needed, assembled them, configured them into how they needed to be, and then I assembled them, and this is where the issue began, because the 2 4-foot sides used one pallet, the 6-foot sides used another. The wood on the back of the pallet used for the 4-foot sides is very slightly thinner than the ones used on the 6-foot sides, which means when I came to putting the nails into these, they were actually slightly too small and they were popping out. So to fix that problem, we drilled a hole slightly into the backs, put the nails in, and then hammered the nails a little bit further down so that they ended up going further into the base. And that has actually done the job. They are now holding together, but it took a lot longer to put them together than anticipated because of that issue. But they are done. I am really really grateful for them to be finished. I was getting very grumpy and very frustrated, and I really didn't think we'd be able to get it done today, but I'm thrilled that it has transpired, that they are done and ready for me to paint tomorrow. This has been an insanely busy week and very plot heavy. I am really happy with the progress I've made this week and everything that I've done and everything I've experienced regarding the allotment. And also it's been a really lovely week getting to know some people who are part of the community on my YouTube and on Instagram, so it's been really great hearing from you all, and thank you so much for all your comments again. I absolutely love reading them, and I respond to every single one, so I really do enjoy reading them, and it means a lot that you would take the time to come and hang out with me, and even more time to send a comment. So thank you so much, it's really appreciated, and it helps me in moments like this where I am questioning many decisions of my life that have led me up to this point in time. All that is left to say is thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next allotment vlog update. Until then, stay calm, grab a hot chockey and carry on growing. Bye!